Well, today I received probably one of the most wanted items for my workshop, a tube tester. This is not a mutual conductance tube tester, however it is a basic emissions tester and will come in handy if I need to see if a tube is even safe to operate or has any other problems. It is a Precision Apparatus and Company Series 612 tube and battery tester. This is back when tube radios had high voltage batteries. Obviously, besides the tube sitting on the meter, we have all of our sockets we put our tubes in. We have a line adjustment, which we'll get into later. We've got the 3 setup knobs, a short check neon lamp, a function switch, 10 very menacing looking levers, along with all kinds of battery crap, which we're not even worried about this. And then of course, down here at the bottom, we have the integrated tube data chart, which tells you how to program or set the tester up to read your tubes. And this thing is a little bit different than most I've worked on, so let's go ahead and go through the procedure. We're going to be testing a 1S5 tube that came out of a battery operated signal tracer. This tube actually has a 1.5 volt filament, which were common back in the days of portable battery radios, one of the better developments. But you know, neither here nor there. Either way, it's a tube I need for a tube tester I'm restoring, and I need to know, do I need to buy another one? Well, this is just a device to do it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take this reading as 100% accurate other than the tube functions, because I have not calibrated this, nor have I replaced any of the old components, so I don't know what kind of drift we have on the capacitors, nor do I know if the voltages and everything else are calibrated right. We're taking this with a grain of salt and just as a demonstration. So the way you use this thing is quite easy. You have to basically set this. I know this for a fact is filament. These two, I'm not sure what they do. I haven't looked in the schematic exactly. But what we do is we start out, we're just going to flip these back to 1 just as an example. And the first thing we do is we have to turn the meter on, so we press our read meter button, which is the momentary switch, and you'll notice this jumps up. Now the first step in doing this is you have to adjust the line voltage. You have to adjust the, if I can, you have to adjust the line voltage so it reads in the center, which I've already done. It doesn't look like it is on here because of the angle. Of course, so you change the angle, you get the glare of the light. So I've already pretty much done that. So the next thing I need to do is set up for the tube. We see that the 1S5 is a dual segment tube. It has both a pentode and a triode, or pentode and diode, I'm sorry. I should have known that. And we see we have the numbers 2 to 34, which indicate the knobs up here. So 2, 2, and then we set this all the way to 34. Sounds easy so far? Guess what? It gets almost as easy. We see we have, under the D column, we have a 1. That means we flipped this first switch all the way up to D. That sets the filament return, which I'm not sure how exactly it's measuring that, but I do know it will tell you if your filament's even good or not, and it's good for other things. So what we're going to do, as I move this out of the way a little bit so we can not get so much glare, is we go ahead and we stick our tube in the socket. As soon as we know it's good and secure, we wait, and then we're supposed to readjust the line voltage, which it didn't change any. So now what you do is you flip every single one of these switches to the first test position while watching this light. And what this light does, I can show you for an example. It lets you know if there's a short. It's just a little neon bulb. It glows. You can kind of, if I move this, you can really see the glow. But it just basically glows to let you know what condition. I'm sorry, I was trying to move the light while doing this. It lets you know if there's a short anywhere in here, because you don't want to test a shorted tube. So now what you do is you run through every single one of these. You can see the flicker, but as I run through them, I don't get any glow except for that one, which is number 7, which is supposed to glow and test because it's a filament line. And as we run through all these, we find that nope, we have no shorts. Now we proceed to the next section, which involves setting these levers according to what they say here, and you can't read it, but it says 4, 5, 6. So we go 4, 5, and 6 into the test position, and now we get to hit the big white button and we get to see whether the tube is good. About 75-80%, not bad. It will do for what I'm doing it for. But we also find that this has a diode section, and it's possible the diode section could be bad while the pentode section is good. So we turn our 3 switches off, and we look down here and we see that we have to set this to 3, and we have a mark, so we have to set this, I believe, to special, or no, we may just read on the diode scale. Either way, I'll have to look into that because they didn't give me any instructions on this piece of paper on what exactly you do with the diode special switch. Some testers, I've dealt with them, but I never usually had to change it. So now that we're set up for our diode test, the simple issue of now hitting the button, and it dropped, but if you notice, we're reading the bottom scale, which says diodes and specials. And that, so the diode section of this tube is perfectly good. So we're going to turn this off, pull this out, and we're going to set all of these back because we're going to do one more tube. And I cheated because I'm trying to do this while holding the camera. I wrote down the programming for 12AX7, which I have right here. This is one of those Chinese 12AX7 tubes. Not the best tube in the world, but it's good enough. So I'm going to put this up here where I can see it, and we set this to 2, already at 2, and then 27, and then we set number 9 to the filament return, because on 12AX7 tubes the filament center tap is actually pin 9. So now that we do that, we check our line voltage, we're still good. Now we insert our tube and we wait, and if you watch, sometimes the line voltage will change when you put the tube in as the draw changes, so you have to constantly readjust that. So now that we have it set and it's warming up, it's the same process all over again. We're just flipping, come on camera, focus. We're just flipping these levers, looking for the short, ignoring certain pins. I know for a fact that we're getting a short now because this is 4, and we'll also get one on 5 because those are the filaments, and that's perfectly normal. It even says in the book, or at least in the instructions, with the exception of, you can't read it, but with the exception of levers listed under filament on the roller. I'm not sure what they're abbreviating it there. But we go through, and I can tell you right now, I've done this one already. This tube is perfectly good. Okay, there's no shorts that I have to worry about in this tube. So now, let me pull out my sheet that's got the numbers on it. So now we're going to test the first triode section. The first triode section on this will be 6 and 7. So we put 6 and 7 to test, and we hold our button. That didn't work. I did something wrong. Didn't I? Maybe 1, 2. No. What did I do? 2, 7, 27. I didn't have enough filament voltage. That's what happened. I forgot to put the filament voltage up, so that wasn't going to work. So now we're going to sit here and wait a few minutes for me to get over my stupidity, because I'm sitting here looking at something totally different. And now we can run through these again, but I can tell you these are all good. This tube's good. So now we get to run our test, and we have to set the settings. I keep forgetting to set these knobs. I'm not used to dealing with these levers. So now we hit test, and we find the tube is good, at least half the tube. Turn these off, flip our other 2 sections on, 1 and 2, hit the button, and we're good. Thank you.